So, I've paused my television. I'm watching the Bob McKenzie draft special, and I gotta say, I'm honestly getting stoked about the off season. See that light over my shoulder? Yeah, that's the bright light of the future. Something like that. At any rate, yeah, no, that's just terrible. I'm gonna turn this back. I know people don't like seeing the TV on in the background, but it's a bright light too. Look at that. All right, let me just go ahead and fix that. I'm not advertising CIBC. It's that stupid Hydro Wash commercial. Oh, well, my TV just shows up as a blur anyway. So, rumor has it that George McPhee has reached out to Chris Russell of the Edmonton Oilers. See, when I did my expansion draft, I stayed away from UFAs. Because I don't want to get into a speculation game of, oh, he'll sign this one, oh, he'll sign that one. He's not going to draft them unless he's got them signed. And I'm not going to speculate on which players are getting signed. But I have to say Chris Russell would be a massive pickup for Vegas and a large loss for Edmonton. Edmonton took a lot of flack when they picked up Chris Russell. And as a Dallas Stars fan, I can say I wasn't a Chris Russell fan. But something happened to him in Edmonton. He was really, really good. He was fantastic. And he was exactly what they needed. He's not a top 2 defenseman, but he's a good number 3 or 4. The other option is this. Vegas actually tries to build their team through the expansion draft. The funny part is, and part of the reason I picked the team the way I did is because George McPhee is selling, he wants young players. He doesn't want to be burdened with big contracts. And he intends to build the team through the entry draft. This means staying away from the big ticket guys and the big name guys, sticking with a younger roster, probably a roster that's talented and fast, not necessarily, you know, it has to be a roster that fits in and allows the team to be competitive but still get those top draft picks. Vegas would be coveting the number 1 draft pick next year. Part of the problem is, okay, let's say that McPhee goes out and he gets all the big name guys. Let's just say that he adds as many big name guys as he can. So he adds guys like Bobby Ryan, Marc-Andre Fleury, and all these big name players. And they're really competitive right out of the gate. And Vegas is this really good team. Those guys are going to get older. That team is going to get slower. They're likely not going to be a playoff team off the bat anyways. So you're going to end up with a team that starts out as probably not good enough for the playoffs and 2 or 3 years down the road is just god-awful. Remember when San Jose came into the league in the early 90s? And they kind of did that. They picked up some veteran guys. They picked up a lot of guys through dispersal from Minnesota. And you know, there was a competitiveness there that first year that just died the second year because they couldn't keep it up. I mean, it would seem to me that the idea is it's short-term pain for long-term gain. That's why I made some of the picks on the board that I did. Are they as good as some of the other players available? No. Are they a lower cap hit? Absolutely. Do they fit in and make a good team? Sure. But that's not all that's making news. As I said, I'm watching Bob McKenzie's extravaganza on who's where on the draft list. And I don't pay much attention to Craig Button because he's a well-meaning guy. And I'd be interested to talk hockey with him and really, I would actually. I'd be really interested to talk hockey with him. But man, he comes with some really strange ideas for who should go where in the draft. And I envy the guy for thinking outside the box, but sometimes I look at some of his rankings and I go, what? Really? McKenzie, on the other hand, he talks to a lot of the scouts and gets the idea from them of where they think guys are going. 5 of 10 scouts he talked to, 5 of them say that Nico Hischier is the best one. The best in the draft. 4 of them picked Nolan Patrick. I think Cale Makar got that 10th pick. But regardless, it appears that Makar and Heiskanen are both rocketing up the charts. And it should be a really interesting draft, that top of the draft. There's been a lot of talk about how it's not star-studded, but people seem to be coming around, and it's one of two things. Either a lot of these players are being evaluated now without being evaluated against Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid, Jack Eichel, Patrick Laine, and just being evaluated on their own merits. Or we're getting close to the draft, and there's some guys going, you know what, this draft can do it. These guys can do it. It's one or the other. For me, I think it's probably a combination of both. I don't think anybody wants to go into the draft and go, well, this is a stinker, so, bring a pillow, it's going to be a snooze. I don't believe that at all. I really don't. I don't believe that at all. But I also, now Nico Hischier, they're saying, oh, he's a number one center. And it's like, wait, you guys were saying mid-season there isn't a number one center in the draft, that Nolan Patrick's number one by default. But Nolan Patrick appears to now be second. So could Philly end up with Nolan Patrick and Jersey take Nico Hischier? Absolutely. Does that leave Dallas with Makar or Heiskanen? Probably. And from what I'm hearing and from what they're saying, I honestly, I have a feeling that Makar is the one that they're going to take. Which would leave Heiskanen going to Colorado. But in reality, I don't know if Colorado takes a defenseman. I think Gabe Vilardi would be more up their alley, or a Cody Glass. And then Makar would drop to Vancouver. And if Makar is as good as they say he is, if the Canucks have another poor season, and they end up getting a top draft pick, and if they can add Dahlin next year, that's something. If they had Levy, Makar, and Dahlin on that blue line, you've got like Nashville level defense right there. You really do. And good, strong, young defensemen. And odds are one of them probably is going to be a bust, but the other two should be fine. And, I can't see the future, so I can't say which one of the three would likely be a bust, but it's likely one of the three would be, just because it's law of averages. You look at, remember Pittsburgh when they drafted Oli Mata and Derek Pouliot in the first round. And I said, oh, great, Pittsburgh just keeps getting more and more good players. And at the time, it looked like Pouliot was going to be this explosive, fantastic defenseman, and Mata had an outside shot at it. Mata's turned out to be the better defenseman. So, we really can't tell on draft day. We have an idea. I think Nolan Patrick's injuries have been overplayed and talked about too much. Sports hernia surgery is something that hurts, but it really shouldn't affect him in the NHL. And then the injury he had in the playoffs was an upper body injury of some other nature. It wasn't the same thing. They weren't related. If a guy's going through a number of injuries and they're related, the red flag goes up. If they're not related, I go, well, it's bad luck. Some guys, Sammy Salo, spend their whole careers going through bad luck. But when a guy's 18, no, he's not injury prone. Okay, he just had a bad run. And I honestly think that Nolan Patrick is going to be fine in the NHL. And this is a weird draft. The funny thing is, they kept saying, oh, what does this draft remind you of? And it's like, oh, it reminds me of 1988 with Mike Modano or Trevor Linden. No. It was well known before that draft that Modano was potential franchise superstar and that Linden was captain material. And they were completely different players. And right from day one, it was obvious that Modano was the more explosive offensive talent and that Linden was the leader. He was very good offensively, but he was a leader, and there was a very clear difference between Modano and Linden in terms of their offensive talent. And, Modano got a Stanley Cup ring. For me, I don't know why they're not saying it's the same as the Tyler versus Taylor. For months, it was Taylor Hall or Tyler Seguin. Taylor Hall, Tyler Seguin. And there wasn't really a wrong answer. And I don't think there is here either. But I'll be interested to know what you guys think. Because I'm getting swept up now in the whole expansion's coming. and the entry draft, and tomorrow we find out all 30 team jerseys, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to tell you guys how I honestly feel about the Adidas redesigns and all 30 teams, and in terms of who I think has improved and which ones I think should have and didn't, and which ones are just fine, just steady, just the same. And then we can compare notes on that one. So it should be fun, but I'm very excited about the draft and about expansion, and I'm very glad that I'm home again next week, so we can get into it, and then we can get into free agency, and oh man, this is just big. Another video topic I want to discuss, I'm probably going to discuss later in the day, is free agents that I think Vegas could target. So UFAs for this summer that I think Vegas could target, and again, this is part of the reason why when you pick your expansion team, leave room there, because if you don't leave room there in terms of cap room, and you've got guys eating up $6 million, $7 million here and there, you might be costing yourself a really good free agent who's going to be way more productive than the other guy that you're looking at. So there's that to consider too. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And I got my new Kings jersey on, and I'm impressed with it, and it's fantastic. It matches the hat, so hat which has fluff on it, which is not a surprise. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.